Disclaimer: the following program features language not suitable for all audiences, and the expressed opinions found within this program are a reflection of those who feature on the PopCulture Effect podcast. Welcome to the PopCulture Effect. I'm Rockin Rob, and on this show I bring my closest friends together to talk about all of the news happening in our pop culture world around us.
Heyo, I'm Subset. I'm here with my two lovely friends, Gemini.
Hello.
And Menace.
Hello.
Today we have interesting topics to go through, I feel like, and one of those is mine, about Coco Loser Raider, who just came out. Currently, as this recording is going on, there's 6 episodes. The 6th one I haven't really seen due to it just came out.
It's been so good so far, though.
Right? Alright, I feel like we got a lot to say and go into this, but...
I don't want to say too much because I don't want to go into spoilers, but at least, like,
spoilers.
For those that haven't even heard of this, it's a new anime that came out. Think of, like, The Boys meets Power Rangers, but it's from the villain's perspective as, like, a normal grunt of Power Rangers. Like, you know, the little guys that always get beat up before the boss fight.
You know, the ads, as people like to call him. And his name is D, because apparently the henchmen are all alphabetized.
Yeah,
D's nuts?
Spider D.
Oh, okay.
Spider D's nuts.
Anyway, continue. I'm sorry. I'm a child.
Not good. But I'm sure people who are very well versed in reading manga, because I'm not, I'm mostly an anime watcher, but the manga has been going on for a little bit. The anime has been going on as a short time. And boy, even within like the first couple episodes, I waited for like maybe at least 3 or 4 to get out before I started. And boy, was I glad that I did, because it just kept keeping your interest going here and there, specifically in the comedy aspect. It can get a little silly, a little ridiculous here and there, but it's enough that, yeah, no, I believe it. That's on par on what's going on in Power Rangers, you know? And one thing, I will say, it surprised me on how the story was going on, or how it was going to portray itself.
Saying I like how it's able to keep that comedy aspect while, at least like you said, after the 3 or 4 episodes, the show starts switching to a more serious tone.
Especially on the whole premise. If you need to know more about this, other than it being boys meeting Power Rangers, is that the villains, aka the henchmen that we've seen, are the only ones alive ever since they lost the war against the Dragon Keepers. These are the Power Rangers, other than stop calling them Power Rangers, they're called Dragon Keepers. And ever since that loss, they are basically stuck on I guess, an unwilling deal with them to just keep on living, where they gotta make this big show every week, once a week, as you expect from like normal Power Rangers, where a new episode comes up, new big bad, and you had to deal with it. But in this, it's just all an act, just to show the Dragon Keepers in good graces for the rest of the pop. It was a big ass show, even though the henchmen are being forced to do this, and they have basically no way out. They're just stuck.
Well, that's kind of stinky.
It is. Some people might not think so until you learn more about their personalities, which I can get down to later. Because within the first 2 episodes, we're following the perspective of the fighter we mentioned, Fighter D, or just D for short, who was sick of this whole routine and whatnot. And during the first episode, we see him act out. Doesn't want to go do the status quo anymore. Doesn't want to do his job, his quote-unquote job. So he left, and he's trying to take down the organization himself, because he's tired of this. He's tired of this fakeness. He's tired of being these punching bags for everybody else's entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And along the way, you learn some other interesting familiar faces that the more you look at this whole city, I guess, because I feel like this is all centered in one town the way it is, it's just off-putting. It's weird. You can definitely feel the boys elements coming into play at that moment, especially after like the 2nd and 3rd episode, where you really see more behind the veil, basically. Particularly the Rangers.
The Rangers are...
Yeah, the Rangers are in different terms of being... So let's just start it off with the red one. He is full of himself. definitely really wants his image, and all the Rangers, before I get even further, they all know the truth. They're the ones who did this. They don't care of how much pain they're putting the henchmen through it, seeing they are technically immortal and you can only be killed by their relics. But the way they handle the situation, and clearly knowing they have the upper hand, the power, and they treat them like animals, basically.
That's no bueno.
Yeah, it's no bueno.
That's no bueno at all.
But yeah, the Red is like the stereotypical prideful leader. He even stopped some of the other Rangers from attacking just because it wasn't good for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Then Blue is like the overly aggressive, wanna punch everything kind of guy.
You know, the manly one. What do you expect the blue one? The green one is more inclined of I guess in the form of like the fighter, being more inclined of the martial arts, more like a monk.
Mm-hmm.
And that all that matters to him, of being strong and proving yourself to be stronger or capable. And then there's the Pink Ranger, who we haven't seen much of her.
There's also Yellow, which is known to be like the science division for them.
But he's also he's a bit quacky in terms. To me, he feels like he has alternate motives behind that smile. Yeah, it's the Pink Ranger again. She doesn't have much to go on, but she's the token female of the group, and we are slowly learning about her. Within the early on, Red tends to try to be charismatic, try to be nice and whatnot. What do you expect of the Red guy? But under that niceness is a veil of, if you're not doing what you're supposed to, I'm gonna sort it out myself, because you're making us look bad and you're complicating things. He wants things to go a certain way. If it doesn't, he will get his hands dirty, which gets nutty in terms of what these guys can really do compared to standard like Power Ranger power-ups and whatnot. Because these sons of bitches, they have speed, they have strength. I'm gonna guess they also have better healing, but boy, these aren't really regular people. They're just not like martial arts, acrobatics. No, they will literally obliterate you.
They like punch someone into a wall and break the concrete wall behind it, kind of thing.
So some like anime ass shit.
Exactly. But I don't know. I'm more interested in Fighter and his team, I should say, because D's like, he really just wants to jump the gun and like take them out right away. And it's not up until people from the Ranger Corps, like the underlings, essentially, like they've essentially turned the Ranger thing into a business, hiring new recruits to go and help out with disasters. Instead of like it's a good way of showing that the Rangers aren't the people that do everything in the world. It's actually the Ranger Corps is what they call it, or the Dragon Corps.
It's a program they're doing. They help along with the police and whatnot, and depending on what color you belong to, depending on what work you do.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also an unassigned division, which is like the White Ranger Corps, which is where we meet one of the other characters that D meets up with, who is this like human that actually wants monsters and humans to coexist together. And then there's also a girl from the Yellow Corps who, if the listeners out there have seen Chainsaw Man, makes me think of Makima from Chainsaw Man.
Yes.
And the fact of she's very manipulative to D. She knows more about the Rangers than he does, but she also pretends that she doesn't know as much as she actually does, if that makes sense.
For her, it feels like there gotta be something more in the way she's viewing the Rangers, because I feel like these Rangers have done a lot of bad behind the we're glorious, we're heroes kind of veil kind of thing, which leads to the...
You also think it's also effective. It could be, at least one of the theories I was kind of thinking of, is people get caught in the collateral damage of monster fights and stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
During at the beginning, when the monsters first invaded, she could have been her parents could have died, and she resents the Rangers for that.
Yeah, similar to another character who is part of D's group. What was his name again? It slipped. I'm bad with names, people. I am sorry.
Me too. It's okay. But names are f***ing awful.
I don't know. I'm very excited. The first few episodes have been awesome.
I'm trying to think of the guy's name. I'm really drawing a blank here. He's the one part of the the White Corps. Which if people are getting a little confused, there is different. I'm just gonna refer him as White Ranger for now. But for the corps, seeing there's red, blue, green, yellow, and pink. There's also a white core where the ones who aren't identified or considered not viable for the others are placed, and they're just there until they are picked up eventually. So they mostly do a lot of grub work. The White Ranger guy that you meet, again, sorry, don't remember the name. He has his own reasonings why he joined up, which compared to most people that you meet, he's a bit more noble. And why he's here, he's actually here to try to do good, help people, and which you'll now learn, he also wants to help the bad guys in a sense of where he mentioned to D after their first run, and he wants them to be coexisting. Something like he's the only person I heard a person talking about that, and seeing he's the only one who has that sentiment, which could be because there are some fans of the monsters. Some kids do see the monsters as, you know, seeing this all a show. They do feel like these guys could do more. And some of the fighters current, like at least two, which is D, who felt that being praised within the first episode.
Hey, I'm gonna stop you right there, Subset. You're going into spoiler territory.
Which good, yeah, dude. What do you mean? This is gonna be spoiler.
No, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. It's a good show.
All right.
But there are some fan of the monsters. I'm more wondering about the girl from the Yellow Rangers, though, because she hasn't shown up in the last few episodes, and she seems like she's got big plans.
I feel like she does have like big plans, especially with her view of the whole core. Which, talking about the monsters real quick, I love the way they did the monsters, especially with their ability.
Oh yeah. So like we said, they're all fighters, is what they're called. So they're all like little grunt guys, but they have the ability to like turn to dust and shapeshift almost with that dust. And you actually see one in the first episode turn from like just a normal skinny looking guy with like the mask and the whole suit on to like this lion chimera thing. I think that's a very underutilized power, I think.
The only problem is that they themselves aren't notably strong, as you know, they are just grunts. And when they do change, it takes a lot of work and a lot of focus just to keep it up. The more complicated it is, the more difficult it is. And these guys don't have a concept of, like, when they're making these monsters, they're trying to do like animal hybrids each time. They're not even aware of what the animals look like half the time when they are doing these transformations. They're just trying to make something that looks scary, big, and strong. Every damn
I find it funny because it's like literal glass cannon. Because you see this big giant lion monster, but you also find out that like fighters' bodies can like crack, or like their outer shell essentially, because they are the living like dust, essentially what it looks like. But their outer shells can like crumble if you squeeze their wrists too hard.
So that's what D is trying to, you know, now figuring it out. Well, he knew, but he's trying to not focus on his physical combative abilities by the looks of it, especially when you go through deeper in. So instead of trying to get rid of him outright, which was his plan, trying to do this in a more quick but timely manner through espionage.
More, subtlety.
But, you know, even with that, he's already fucking up. But, you know, hilarious.
The gun a lot is I think it's his issue.
There's a lot of interesting faces, a lot of possibilities where anybody can do. And I kind of feel like anybody we've been seeing has other motives, have other plans of what they want to do within this world, other than like the status quo or the main thing that everybody just wants. I think that's pretty much everything
the birds
I got.
Are going full force today.
Yes, they are. Apparently, they are very excited of Go Loser Ranger. Very excited. Apparently, they have a lot to go on. I think I got most of the stuff I want to go through, other than, you know, don't want to go too spoilery, which I wish I can talk more. But this one over here doesn't want me to, so it's fine.
I don't want you to, but I do say it is worth it. Like, you know, normal animes or animes that have come out recently, you got to get through like a whole season for stuff to start picking up. Third episode, shit hits the fan.
Which, I'm gonna say this one spoiler just to give everybody a good context of why and how this show gets the boy title onto it, is within, I think, the third episode, right? Was it? Is where it was a meeting between all the Rangers to discuss.
It was third or fourth. But
to discuss what happened during the first episode and thereon, in which one, there's the Dragon Keepers, and then they have their second in command, basically basically their
Lieutenants.
candidates. Yeah, they're lieutenants. They literally have candidates of who will be the next Dragon Keeper for their color, their bracket, but they also have assistants to help them. And during this meeting, one of the Red's assistants who tried to paint, the red guy in a bad light for a brief moment, even though he knew he was the one who set it up. Even the other Rangers figured out like this was the setup. They know he knew the information, probably the one who leaked it, which in turn led to the Red Dragon Keeper to get up, grab him by the head, but hand on face, then slam him against the wall, and then proceeded to just make mush of head against wall. So they're not above killing people, even if they belong in their own organization, even on a small infraction. That's how bad I think they have their own.
Yeah, I don't recommend this as like a kid's anime. I will say that.
So that was just only a small glimpse. So I can only imagine what else they've done during this whole, because it's been like what, 10 years? Couple of years of this whole ploy going
like
on.
10 years, yeah.
So the question goes that did this started during that time, or this is how they always been?
I don't know. I am excited to see more though. The story's got me like just wondering
like
where
that.
it's gonna go next.
Just like that.
Yeah.
So to you manga readers, please spare us. Just spare us a little bit.
And to people looking out for new animes, I know a lot of them are ending here soon. Try Go Loser Ranger. It's shown. It's on Hulu. I don't know if it's on anywhere else, but yeah, it's a good one. Would recommend.
And if you're interested in a good manga read, get the manga a try. But I think that's everything I got to say about Go Loser Ranger, unless you got anybody else got something to say or add in a little quip.
Nope, I'm good. Wow.
Going from a very intense anime, we're gonna go to something also new that's been making its round on the internet. Menace, tell us more about what's going on with Hades 2.
So the early access came out for the game, and it's about 25% of the game that released to everybody, and they'll be doing frequent updates to it until the game comes out. And I believe if you buy the early access, you get the game. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember exactly. I know how companies can be sometimes. But for those of you that don't know, Hades is a roguelite based in Greek mythology, and you played originally as the son of Hades, Zagreus, going through trying to find your mom, Persephone, and the other Greek pantheon gods helped you along the way with different types of buffs they would give you called blessings. So you traveled through the different layers of the underworld and eventually made your way up, met your pet Cerberus, gave him some pats on your way out, and went to meet your mom. Hades 2 picks up the story a few years later as the unknown sister of Zagreus, Malnoy, I believe is her name. Malnoy, I may be butchering that, but turns out that Kronos, the Titan of Time, has broken free from Tartarus, and Hades is nowhere to be found. Zagreus is nowhere to be found. So the Greek gods call upon Zagreus' sister to assist them, and she has been being trained by one of the moon witch goddesses, Hecate?
Hecate? I think it's
Hecate.
Hecate. Something like that.
Yeah, yes. With her and her other sisters, Artemis and Selene.
I think in Greek mythology, Hecate, I think she was like the goddess of magic, if I recall correctly.
That seems right for her portrayal here. But I loved Hades because there were all these like different types of aspects for the replayability. That's one reason why I'm so into roguelike games, is I like games that I can get my money's worth out of.
You mean being a for?
Hey, when I can spend $30 on a game and play it for 3 years rather than having to buy a $60 COD every year.
I mean, he's got a point.
Play the game for 3 years and still not find everything in the game. But so there were like different weapons that you can find. You can interact with different NPCs that you either find out in the world or in your camp, which in this one is called the Crossroads, which I think is cool. Seems like Charon, boatsman for the underworld.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, he plays a big role for our new protagonist as well.
The ferryman. That's what he is. He's the ferryman.
Ferryman, thank you. So I did want to kind of go over for the new stuff that we see, because there are some returning regions that we've seen, like the Elysian Fields will be an area that you can go back into. I'm not sure about like the lava region, but there is a new region. I haven't been able to get my hands on it on the early access myself, sadly, but there's a new region, at least one new region right now. They said that they do plan to add more. There is a new weapon. There were originally 5 weapons in Hades. They added a sixth one, and I know that doesn't sound like a lot of weapons for, hack and slash roguelike, but each weapon normally has 3 aspects to them, which changes the weapon's appearance entirely and the combos that you can do with the weapons entirely. So you can have a spear where the normal spear does like a jab attack with rapid jabs, and then you get the Achilles spear and you do a thrust attack with it, and it sends out a wave of wind in front of it. At least in Hades 1, that's how it was. I don't know if they're going to have the same ones or not, but one of the main things that I'm happy about and excited for is the Crossroads, which is your kind of little hub world, and this is where you get to meet a lot of the new characters, like Phrenos the Frog, who is one of the first companions you meet when entering the Crossroads, and is the first familiar that you will get to unlock. So you can actually there's been, at least in trailers I've seen, there's the frog, there's a deer, and there's a rabbit, I believe, if I remember. And you get little animals, or no, there was a cat, and you get to have them follow you. They actually attack enemies with you, and gather materials and stuff. There is a little ghost girl there named Dora, which people have been speculating is Pandora from Greek mythology. Hecate is also there. Hypnos, for those that played the first Hades game, is in the Crossroads camp as well, along with everybody's favorite training dummy, Skelly, coming back for another reappearance under his true name, Gelimus, Training Master. Yes. He would come up with a bunch of quips and stuff as you're wailing on him, testing out the different weapons, and you can actually give him, how it works is like, this is half roguelike, half sim game, if I was gonna say, for Hades. After every run, you get to talk to all these people in your camp. You can give them, the nectar of the gods and bottles of ambrosia, and actually increase your reputation with the different gods, because you can give it to them before you accept their blessing. While you're out in the world, you can give it to people at your camp, and that is essentially how you can get because there's romancing in this game as well, for those that don't know. Some of the characters you can romance and talk to. Some of them, I think almost everybody, I know all the gods do it, I don't know if the other NPCs do it, but after you give them your first bottle of nectar, you will get a boon from somebody, and increasing their reputation will increase the buffs you get from those boons. But I'm trying to see if there's anybody else here that has shown up. There are Children of Nyx, which Nyx was another character showing up in Hades 1. We get to see more of her family, which she's kind of the adopted mom of Zagreus. And a couple of the other things they're working on is balancing and patches. There's going to be movement buffs for Maloi's dash and sprint abilities. Going to be adjustment for weapons, boons, and other gameplay elements. There's in the Crossroads is another thing that I want to talk about. Is in the Crossroads, there's actually a farm that you can go to, and you can actually get resources that you can get by doing runs. So when you start the resources, it'll actually show you how many doors in a run you will have to go through before that resource is ready for you to come back and grab. Because there was a couple like different gem types you can get in Hades 1, and there's the healing stuff that you can make, or not make, but there's the healing that you can get to have like extra heals to go on your run. Hopefully I'll be able to play the full access here soon, or the early access here soon, and be able to have more to talk about on it. But I'm excited to see these new and returning characters. The dialogue and the art style for this game is insane, and I think I've said it on the show before, but I'm a sucker for Greek mythology.
I mean, I don't blame you. I like Greek mythology too.
Now for this week, there's something I'm really excited for, and that is Multiversus. Now, unfortunately, at the recording of this, I have not been able to play the relaunch with the new characters, but I will still discuss all that was talked about in the most recent trailer, and all the other promotional material that they've talked about, but I will go over all the information that's come out about it, including their new content with the PvE Rifts mode, where you can basically play all different kinds of mini-games like Break the Target, and as a Smash Bros. Veteran, I have missed Break the Target since that game, so I'm really glad to hear that it's coming back. And there's a lot of other interesting concepts that they have that isn't just, oh, fight this CPU, cough, cough, Smash Bros. Ultimate Story Mode, cough, cough. But yeah, it looks like they're really trying to create a replayable and creative environment for everybody to enjoy, but that's not all that was announced in this trailer. And for you eagle-eyed Easter egg Egg Hunters. Aside from the Dexter's Laboratory and Powerpuff Girls stages and trailer references, we got to see quite a bit shown off in this trailer. We got to see a broomstick, which could easily be a character from either leaked franchises of Wizard of Oz with the Wicked Witch of the West, or a Harry Potter character, which I hope it's Hermione. We also see what looks to be Samurai Jack's katana, Aquaman's trident, Teen Titans Go references, which I hate, and a Green Lantern. And if they make a Green Lantern character with a construct-based moveset and all the possible costumes, I'd be pretty happy. But not as happy as I'd be playing as Omniverse Ben 10. Another note is that in the splash screen, we do see one of the Animaniacs and Brain from Pinky and the Brain in the background as Sky silhouettes. I do hope these are more than just references and we get to see these characters fully realized in the roster, or maybe as assists. Obviously, we have the Joker, and Banana Guard was leaked because they literally showed it in the trailer when, if you slowed down the footage enough, frame by frame. And the new characters that were announced and the newer characters that were announced that were unexpected, Jason Voorhees and Agent Smith from Friday the 13th and The Matrix. Aside from this, they've also announced that they're going to have character reworks and moveset updates, which I am always for. Balancing and reworking characters is how you keep a game alive and how you keep player interest engaged. And actually in this trailer we got the first of Rick's new VO as the voice actors from Rick and Morty. As the new voice actors from Rick and Morty seemingly will be dubbing lines for the relaunch, which again, I am super hyped for. And one final note for Multiverses, in the final cinematic moments of the trailer, as we see the reveals of Jason and Agent Smith, we also see the Joker attempts to teleport in 4 other characters, so it'll be quite interesting to see what other villains come to Multiverses. Now, I know I already said one final point, but of course they literally posted a webpage info dump. This is where they're talking about Multiversus launch with their welcome back rewards. This is going to consist of free content you'll be able to get after the relaunch from May 28th until June 11th. You'll get Banana Guard and Female Banana Guard if you complete a tutorial, a Banana Guard announcer pack, Jason Voorhees and the Season 1 Battle Pass, even though they kind of already had 2 seasons during their beta, but you know, we'll let that slide. And you'll also get a commemorative Finn snowsuit skin. Some of the changes that are going to happen once Season 1 launches they will be adjusting the store and Battle Pass as a whole. There's also another big change coming, and that is you'll no longer be able to obtain character tokens, but if you have any during the beta through founder packs, you still get to use those, and the same with Battle Pass tokens. So I know who I'm using my 15 tickets on. Also, they are reintroducing the character rotations, and they're adding in a new fighter currency. It's this new way to unlock characters, and they're also going to be unlocking prestige currency, which is their way of giving you access to the more rare cosmetics. They're also taking away gold currency and replacing it with an equivalent amount of cosmetics to the player that they would have been able to afford. In its place, you'll now have perk, fighter, prestige, and gleamium currencies. This was quite the unexpected info dump right before the launch, so I'm curious how all this will unfold once the game fully launches. But that's been a majority of what I've wanted to talk about for Multiverses for this week, and of course I'll be revisiting this game next week to tell you how I feel about all the changes and updates Multiverses is bringing to the table. That's all I have for this week, and now it's time to toss it back to my friends to end this week's episode.
But that's it from us. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you are watching on CJSW, don't forget to check out the other channels that they got up there on the website and listen in on the radio too. But I would like to thank other people bringing in topics today. Thank you, Tran.
Of course, anytime.
And thank you, Subset.
Damn, he was yawning.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry.
You're good.
Sleeping on the job.
Want to hit that one more time for me?
Heyo!
And we will see you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Heyo!
What are we looking at for time, Tran?
An hour and 2 minutes.
Robert can edit that down.
Oh yeah, totally. If Robbie doesn't think it's good enough, well, then we can just always re-record another day. Fuck it. I'm gonna have to fiddle with it maybe a little bit, but it should be fine. It should be fine. I think we should be good. I hope my chair doesn't get too squeaky weaky. So who's starting us off?
That would be Subset.
I don't wanna.
We agreed that it was the...
I know. I gotta Get the pre-game jitters out. All right. All right. So intro comes in. So I just introduced myself, and then you got this. I got this. I don't got this. I don't got this.
Oh, fuck it. Close that and then pop it.
Hey yo, this is Subset here with my two lovely friends, Gemini.
Ooh, you have some background noise or something. Like,
Oh, do we?
you might maybe do that over because it sounded like you were in a wind tunnel.
Probably because of my fan. Do you hear my AC thing going on right now?
Not now. That's why I had to turn mine off. So
Might as well do the same.
I know. I remember I had this conversation with Robbie last year about it. Like, you know, when it gets fucking warm, he's like fucking sweat, and I'm like, bitch. Fuck you, future Robbie. By the way, I'll know
Future
you hear
Puppet, you're a
this.
bitch.
You're a bitch, Menace.
You're a deep. Wow, rude.
Text Chris, so that way you
Ha.
can probably get off.
It only shows up when I have games enabled. It's kind of.
I am ready when you guys are.
I'm good.
I'm good.